on PBS in America and around the globe. Welcome to World News America. We don't often start this programme with beach holidays, but this year, with the European economy shattered by COVID, there's a lot more at stake than fun in the sun. Tourism is the third highest source of revenue in the European Union, and for Greece, it's a quarter of the entire economy. If tourists don't come this summer, millions of Greeks will lose their livelihoods, which is why those beautiful islands are opening a lot faster than many would have imagined. Quentin Somerville has this report.
Athens is sending a flotilla to fight a pandemic. The Greek islands are reopening. Among the first to call, a high-speed deployment of doctors with a mission.
These islands have been a safe haven from the pandemic with no confirmed cases of COVID-19. These medics from the mainland want to make sure it stays that way.
It's an annual expedition to the remotest parts of the Aegean, with special purpose this year.
We will be in contact with the government whenever they need us. We will come here to check if there is any case of COVID infection.
The mayor of Mykonos welcomes them ashore. We're greeted with elbow bumps instead of handshakes. There are enough tests for whoever wants them.
There are only 250 people on this island, and none of them have been tested for COVID-19 until today.
The village was built on a hilltop to safeguard it from pirates. They're hoping its isolation continues to offer protection. Greece has had only 172 deaths from COVID-19 and is leaving lockdown faster than expected. Bars and restaurants have reopened for guests. Hilary and David Brown live here.
We spend so much time here, we love it here. So even if there wasn't a pandemic and we were told to go home, we still would have chosen to stay here. It's safer.
There's no pandemic in the Cyclades. Only, I think, 2 in Syros and 1 in Mykonos, and that's it.
Father Theodoros leads the way. These tests are essential as Greece prepares to welcome back foreign tourists in the coming months.
Today is the first day that everything comes back to normal, including restaurants and all the borders and ships, so we are concerned about everything being as planned and the best possible way.
Greece is emerging from the pandemic earlier than others, not unscathed, but in better shape than most. Isolation is a way of life here, but so too is tourism. The health of the islanders depends on both.
And I caught up with Quentin just a short time before we came on air. Quentin, apart from the fact that you wanted to make us all jealous by going to Greece to do some reporting, there's a real issue here, isn't there, for these, particularly for these southern European countries. If they miss out on the tourism, it could be devastating, couldn't it?
Exactly. The 2 months on this island, Milos, they say July and August are the 2 months which pay for the rest of the year. The population on some of these islands increases tenfold or 100-fold when the tourists start arriving. Now, the islands have done very well. There have been very few reported cases of COVID-19 here. The Greeks admit that a lot of testing hasn't been done, but it does seem like they've had it under control here. So they're trying to balance that, the health of the islanders, with the essential fact that these islands depend on tourists and they need tourists to come back. So from Monday this week, it was local tourists that started to arrive here, and in a few weeks' time we'll start seeing foreign tourists welcome back to places like Milos.
There's this idea of some countries having kind of air bridges, or, I mean, they sound a bit like kind of elite clubs, which some countries are in and other countries are not. And at the risk of asking you to play my personal travel agent, I'm a Brit living in America and I'm starting to feel a bit like a pariah. It feels like nobody really wants either of those countries in their air club.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're 2 strikes and you're out, because you're British, which is a country with a high infection rate, and you're in the United States, another country with a high infection rate. But look, the Greeks realise that they need to welcome back some of their biggest tourist markets, whether it's Britain, whether it's Russia, whether it's the United States. Some American airlines are already getting prepared to launch flights from JFK and elsewhere back to Greece. So the Greeks say that they will review these countries with high infection rates. They'll keep looking at them on a weekly basis with the expectation that as soon as the numbers get better, those tourists from Britain, from the United States, you, Katy, will be welcome to travel to Greece and to these beautiful islands again.
Okay, Quinton, thank you for sorting out my summer plans for me. Great to see you. Enjoy Milos.
Thanks a lot.